Good day, my friends. Starting off today, this evening, I had one of the most difficult times in coming up with I guess you would call it a title for tonight's show, for this episode. It's fascinating, the idea of what we're trying to accomplish, because it covers everything. And there are some folks who are involved in this, people who have found themselves in the, how do I say this, in the beginning of, I don't know what the word is, people who've been watching this for a long time. And what they've done is they're trying to say, okay, work me through this. What are you talking about? There's Candace, and then there's Erika, and then there's TPUSA. Then there's Epstein, then Pizzagate, and by the by, one of the most fascinating new cases is the disappearance of Savannah Guthrie's mother. This is phenomenal. Why? I'll tell you why. Because people are unable to handle what this is. Is it a murder? Is it a kidnapping? Do we know? Are we sure? What is it? Nobody knows. And last night on WABC, doing the overnight, someone called up and said, I've got it. I believe I know what it is. It's abduction. Alien abduction. I kid you not. So that's where we are with that. Could be. I'm not ruling that out. But in no particular order, my friends, in no particular order, I put together something today which is very difficult for people, but I had to explain. It's called Pizzagate for Morons, because I'm hearing people, I don't know what they think it is, but it's not what they think it is. It's an incorrect phrase. I'd like to disabuse people. It's very important that we always present our case wisely, and we always make sure that we know what we're talking about. I don't want to say things just because they're popular. I want to say things so that new folks, new acolytes, new apostles of truth can listen to us and say, you know what, that makes sense to me. That makes sense, because that's what I want. By the way, to show you how, when you research something, have you seen or heard or reviewed, I'm sure you have, this reference to Baphomet? You know who it is? That is Baphomet is the goat-like reference, usually thought of in terms of the devil or Satan. You've seen that. It's the goat with the eye and the pentagram. And the original Baphomet has absolutely nothing to do with the devil. Nothing. It was about balance, and but it was later interpreted during the original trial of the Templar, the Knights of the Templar, and it was adopted. So, for those of us who believe in, who are focused on and looking at the satanic reference of what's going on, Baphomet is usually referred to. But I suggest do yourself a fascinating benefit. Spend a little time and go and see for yourself where this comes from. What does it mean? What does it stand for? What is this? We find, and I have found, that people use the term oftentimes satanic, occult, conspiracy theory, They'll use terms, pedophile, they use terms that take, that's not it, but it becomes a kind of a shortcut. So I figure, well, let it go, because at least it directs people into the area that we're speaking of. First and foremost, let's start with Candace. Candace is hotter than she has ever been in terms of subject matter and relevance. She's going to be the last one standing. The last one standing. She is going to be like nothing you have ever seen before in terms of these folks who present themselves. She is the most unique. She provides content every day to countless purveyors and commentators who use her piece, her editing, her show, and then they'll use it and supposedly comment on what she's saying, which under the rules of YouTube is okay so long as you comment. It's like people who take police videos that other people have compiled, which basically were taken from police videos, and then they compile it. And they do. Okay, fine. To each his own. I'm not. It's legal. It's fine. I don't do that. I don't do that. I'd rather talk to you myself. Please watch Candace. Please watch anybody you want. But this is my time, and I want to talk to you myself. I don't want to point to what other people do, because why do you need me if I'm pointing to somebody else? I am amazed by how many people, especially when it comes, especially in the world of conservative media, spend more time commenting on the left. I know more people who were talking about Don Lemon. I'm saying, why are you talking about Don Lemon? Why are you giving him all this credit? Why are you giving all this credit? Well, because Don Lemon's an idiot. Well, yes, I appreciate that. Thank you, Suzanne. You're a mensch or a menschette. Thank you for that. Why are you doing? Do you find yourself doing that? What do you? It's like, why are you worried about Don Lemon? I don't care about Don Lemon. I never think about him once. Yeah, but he said. So I don't care what he said. It's like, this isn't commentary. They didn't do this in the time of Murrow or at the time of the McCarthy. They didn't make fun of Dave Garroway. I mean, I do not understand it. So one of the rules I want to establish here, and I know you agree with me, is let's talk about things sua sponte, that we initiate, as opposed to taking something that somebody else has done, their hard-earned work, hard earned efforts, I should say, and commenting on what they've said. I don't understand it. That's all. We can reference them, but that's it. Okay, that's it. Now, Candace. Bigger than ever. Erika Kirk. Do you believe that Erika Kirk is or has any future either with TPUSA or with the movement or anything along those lines? Do you believe that? How many of you fine people think her future is just the beginning? She is going to be the figurehead. She's going to be the pole star, the bellwether, the epicenter. She is going to be she's it. Because I don't think she is. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they said, listen, I how do I say this? I think they're going to say, listen, it was a nice run. I think you meant well, Erika. I think you meant well. We don't think you're a bad person, but you are clearly, absolutely unable to handle the rigors and the demands of running a multi-gazillion-dollar effort of this size. You're just not able to do it. You're unable to do it. And we thank you for your service. We thank you for everything you've done, but you are simply without the ability to do so. Do you agree with me? Or do you think, oh, no, she is so loved. She is so loved and so much a part of our collective family that she will be forever not only featured prominently at the table, so to speak, but she is critical to garner the attention and the focus and the love from others. I think that's wrong. We have exhausted this to the point she has done so much damage to herself. She has come across as one of the most colossal phonies anybody has ever said. And by the way, once you see it, once you're aware of what she does, then you are unable to miss it. She is she exudes this plastic, and the fact that other big name conservative news items or organizations, the fact that they keep having her on tells me everything. It's over. I mean, it is over. It's almost to the point now. And who was responsible for that? Candace and Charlie and Erika. Absolutely. Absolutely. What this does to the case, I have no idea. I do not believe for a moment in the official narrative of the charge against Tyler. I don't believe it for a moment. I don't believe any of it. Okay, don't believe any of it. None. I wanted to go back very quickly. I'm not sure if you're following this, but in this Savannah Guthrie mother disappearance case, Ashley Banfield, who had her own, I think, a regular show, she stepped down and she's doing some other kind of vertical network. I don't know what she's doing. But I don't think she's, I don't know if she's doing the main thrust. By the way, keep in mind, News Nation is hired Fredo, okay? But she said, and I have it on good authority, and I have it from a well-placed law enforcement source, that the son-in-law, Tommaso Giorni, whatever his name is, who is the brother-in-law of Savannah Guthrie, who is married to Savannah Guthrie's sister, that he is a prime suspect in this. Now, watch this. He sure as hell better be, because if he's not, you just told the whole world that. So watch how this thing works. It is one of these incredibly, really fascinating things that I find interesting. Now, next, Pizzagate. Do you believe anything is going to come of that? Yes or no? I'm curious as to what you think. Do you believe so? Do you believe that any of this is going to come of this? Yes or no? What do you think, my friends? I do agree with Evil Joe. Trust Candace. No one at TPUSA has Charlie's talent and charisma. I could absolutely, positively, could not agree with you more. But what saith you? Pizzagate, what is going to happen with this? Tell me what's going to happen. Because I'm afraid it's going to get lost in the mix. And it's sad. What do you think? Where do you think this is going? Who is going to pick up the gauntlet? Who's going to run with it? Do you believe people understand it? Do you believe people understand what that means? Do you think people understand the notion of what this means and the history and what it suggests? Do you think people think that Pizzagate is a thing or an event, or it's a subject of its own horror? What do you think it is? What do you think it is? Nobody knows. It's not been explained, I think, well enough yet. The implications are important. The implications are critical. It's a great way to supplement the news, but it is misunderstood completely. Now, I'm going to say something very critical, very careful, very deliberately, and I want you to listen carefully. What happened is that everything that used to shut us down, mentioning of this, mentioning of other things, mentioning of a variety. Remember in the old days when you could mention ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, now you have shows that promote companies that actually sell ivermectin, not sell, but provide you to have it on hand, and great products. You couldn't mention this before. Now it's sold openly. Ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and something happened. Dorsey left Twitter. Twitter became X. And Elon opened everything up. Opened it up. We're talking about Pizzagate now. This is just, I'm thinking, are you sure? We sure did. The night I did a great Spaces with my friend Ben Swan. And I'm thinking, I can't believe we're even saying this. Then again, I don't understand what there is to say, because it wasn't an event per se. It was a chapter of a very long process. So the rules have changed drastically. You're also hearing people say things regarding levels of participation in child predation units that are nothing more than the prototypical crazy and wild conspiracy theories of the past. I'm going to leave it there. Are you following this? You understand this? It's really important right now. What do you think what is going to happen? Are people going to wake up? Are people going to grasp this? Do you recognize how important this is? We need very clear minds and very, very responsible folks to explain to people what this means. Not to hit them with the Baphomet and satanic this, which may or may not be true, but that immediately comes across as lunacy. And we don't need that, because you do know that people think you're crazy. How many folks do you believe? How many folks do you believe think you're crazy? How many people, roughly? Or do you have people in your friends and family who think you're crazy? Do you? And someone writes, no, people don't understand the levels of evil. Yes, they absolutely. They do not understand. But people think you're crazy. They think you're nuts. They think there's something wrong with you. And it's the oldest Soviet trick in the book, where they would have put you in some kind of a mental hospital, because they don't understand what it is that you're trying to say. So what they do is they call you crazy. They call you nuts. This is the oldest. This is what they do every single time. But these people will come across and they will suggest to you that it is completely proper to discuss, among other things, pronouns and the interruption of puberty, and that somehow is okay. Explain that to me. Explain that to me. So they're used to it. Now, coming up in March, I believe, the left, I guess you'd call them, they're going to have another one of those No Kings marches. And they also cannot tell you what it is specifically that they're trying to say. They don't tell you what they're trying to say. Do you hear what I'm telling you? They've yet to tell you this. They think nothing of it. They have no problem with it whatsoever. Nothing. They have absolutely no problem with it whatsoever. And I want you to understand, I want you to pledge with me that you are going to be an apostle. You're going to go to all of those people that you know, and you're going to do as follows. If somebody asks you, what is Pizzagate? What does this mean? What does this? What is the whole Epstein case about? Who was Epstein? What does it mean? Why is it important? Why is it important? If you hit them immediately with how medieval these people are, Candace did a wonderful piece highlighting some of the, because it takes people to go through and sift and collate these emails. But there was a piece, a series of emails and mail that came through that said something to the effect of, let's sign up for this 23andMe or whatever it is, because they love the idea of them being part of a bloodline where they are invincible. It's the same thing as royalty. They believe this. They believe this. Do you hear what I'm saying? They believe these folks. Call them the elites. I know it's terrible. To me, they're not elite anything, but that's what we call them. They are into this like you cannot believe. And when you tell people this, you can say, let me try to explain this to you. Since the beginning of time, there have been people who have preyed on children. You understand this? I can't say it enough. I can't do when you tell somebody this, they're going to say you have lost your mind. You've lost your mind. What are you talking about? Eyes wide shut. Eyes wide shut. Kubrick. What about him? That's what they do with the masks and the whole. What? Spirit cooking. Do you hear what I'm? If you hit somebody with this right away, they're going to say, "What are you talking about, Abramovich? You know about that spirit cooking? Remember the PDF from the FBI? You know, walnut sauce. And what? You do understand? They think you're crazy. You do understand, right? They think you are crazy. They think you're out of your mind. So how do you? Let me ask you: has anyone here ever broached the subject? Have any of you ever said, here's how we should address this? Have you ever had to explain this to somebody? Anyone? And how would you go about it? Nobody's doing it on mainstream media. They refer to something and they'll just reference it like, look at this, look at the blood, look at Lady Gaga, look at that. Okay, but do you understand? Someone says the rest of the world is looking at the USA and thinking, yes, thinking we're crazy. We're nuts. Who has been the most adamant? Who has been the most open? Who has been the most clear? The most intellectually punctilious regarding speaking out against this? Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin. Now, I hope nobody gets upset, but I want you to understand something. I'm going to tell you what I feel. And if it bothers you, don't be offended, because I'm sure that if you and I spoke long enough, you would say something that I disagree with. You hear what I'm saying? I would disagree with it. But I'm not going to get upset. I'm going to let you say whatever it is, but I'm not going to be upset. Sometimes people say, I heard you say something and you infuriated me. I left immediately. Say, why are you doing that? Life is not about getting up and taking your ball and leaving because somebody's saying something you don't agree with. I mean, it depends kind of what it is. And you have to understand this. We come from a different place. We are part of the Conspiratorium. We see things differently. Everybody that I know here had an event or events, but in their life where you went this way and the rest of the murmuration crowd went this way. Mine was 9/11. Woke me up. Woke me up. Absolutely. Someone says, look at Libya before and look at it now. Look at Syria. You go on and on. Yes. One of the things which is the most fascinating subject about Libya is the fact that one of the reasons why it was taken over was not because of the oil, not because Gaddafi wanted to nationalize it, but because he mentioned that he wanted to make Libya arable, and he wanted to utilize the Nubian sandstone aquifer. It's the largest source of fresh water, maybe on the planet. It's fresh water. It's hydro-imperialism. I just told you this, right? I just told you this. People look at me like this. What the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? I get this all the time. And I ask people, why are you talking about Don Lemon? People get very upset with me. Why are you so fascinated with Don Lemon? Why? Because you have a lot of anti-intellectual clowns who work for news organizations where they're afraid of losing their job, and they figure they go for the low-hanging fruit. They go for the easy stuff. Joy Behar said this. This one said this. Let me tell you what the president needs to do. The president needs to absolutely get his act together a little bit better. Caitlin Collins, the one who always looks angry. I love, this is crazy. Look at the corner of her mouth. Look at the way the just watch it. It's phenomenal. So she's in the White House, and she asked the president, what do you think about the fact that Lutnick appeared in the Epstein files, or the Epstein? What do you have to say for that? You know what Trump said? It doesn't matter. It's time to move on. Big deal. Who cares? Don't say that. How would you have answered that? How would you have been? He does things But he doesn't really care. And that's part of his charm, but he doesn't really care. Now, by the way, remember, I don't know about you. I'm a fan of the president, but I'm not an acolyte. I don't swear by everything he says. I don't always defend him. If he says something that's great, I'll tell you. For the most part, I have no other choice. But he does some things that are just stupid. He should have said, I think it would be inappropriate for the president of the United States to discuss something regarding an ongoing intel drop, because there are cases and prosecutions and litigation that are pending, and it would be improper for me to interject my opinion about what I think. I will tell you that Howard I've known for a long time, and many, many people's names appear in the quote files, up to and including Stephen Hawking and Ethel Kennedy. Next question. He should have prepared for that answer ahead of time. That's the simple truth. But going back to the original part of this, how do you explain to someone why so many people are interested in children? If I said, John Podesta, for example, I have a tranche of your emails. This was in the first WikiLeaks in 2005, 2006. When this came. Remember the whole Seth Rich business. You know where that came from. In any event, Mr. Podesta and others, can you tell me why you have so many emails going back and forth? Emails regarding pizza. Can you tell me what this means? I'm waiting. You're a very intelligent man. You're highly. How do we say this? You're highly educated, and you keep saying this. Look at this. I looked up Pizzagate code pizza hot dogs. Wikipedia, Pizzagate conspiracy theory. BBC, the fake story that shows how conspiracy theories spread. The New York Times, 2016, dissecting the Pizzagate conspiracy theories. Time Magazine, Pizzagate, what to know about the conspiracy theory. This is in 2016. Pizza hot dogs and butterflies. What's going on with this thing? What does this mean? Why do they say this? Human trafficking rumors. Barack Obama did not spend $65,000 on pizza and hot dogs. You see what's happening? Why did this engender so much interest from people? Why were so many people going to debunk something if it was truly stupid? Why? Now, someone says Pizzagate is real. What is it? What is it? This is what nobody can answer. What is it? Is it an operation? Who gave it that name? What does that mean? Is it an ongoing? What does it mean? What does it mean? Can anybody tell you what it means? Can anybody tell you what it means? Can anybody figure out what it means? Anybody? No, they say, well, it means it's a. Well, what was it? I don't know. That's the problem. You see where we are right now? That's the problem. And that's very, very, very interesting. So the question I have for you is, what is it? What do you call it? When somebody says Comet Ping Pong had a lot of activity, what activity? But the thing is that that's not the story. Let me tell you what they did, and let me explain this to you. This is what's important, and this is how effective it is. What they will do is they will take a story, and they will create the narrative. Okay? They believe, that we believe, whoever we are, whoever they are, whoever we are, we believe that the entire government is involved in some kind of a conspiracy, a consortium, a group of people who are dedicated to, and by the way, they use the word pedophile incorrectly. It's predators, but that's okay. But that's the government, and that's what we believe in, these crazy people, that everybody's involved in. Is that true? Well, no, it's not true. It's not true. In fact, it's not true that the whole government is doing that. There are some people, certainly, but no, that's not. Nobody's saying that. So what they do is they create the narrative. They say, these people believe that the federal government is designed to, or has in great part, organizations, groups of people who are involving this particular type of behavior. And this is important, and they believe that this place, this pizza joint, is where it started, or where the elites went to practice their craft, and where terrible things happened. I remember there was a lunatic who shot the place up. And that you believe that that is the place where that's predation central or something. They will then go to Wikipedia, Snopes, PolitiFact, run that through it, debunk it, and say it's officially been debunked. Pizzagate is debunked. Wait a minute. That's not what you did. You created the narrative and debunked that. That's it. Now, that may not strike you as important. That's the most important thing in the world. I take the narrative. If a husband comes home at night, late, smelling of perfume and whatever, lipstick, late, and his wife confronts him dead on and says, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. Your shirt is open. You smell. You reek of all kinds of stuff. I know what you're doing. You're having an affair. You take this story and you say, you know what happened? We're getting a divorce. Why? I came home late and my shirt was open. And my wife said, you're having an affair. And that was it. Because my shirt was open. And the truth is, that's not what she said. That's what you said. And you took your version of the narrative and you debunked it. You say, my wife's crazy. She thinks that because my shirt is open. I don't know where she got that from. I've lucid my time before. No, idiot. That's not what she said. And you know that's what she didn't say. You see how this works? So they create the narrative and they do it. Just like geoengineering or chemtrails. They said they think that chemtrails, that you confuse contrails and vapor with chemtrails, and therefore it's been debunked. And you say, no, that's not what we said. You said that. We know what water vapor is. We know what contrails are. No, this is something different. You see what I'm saying? So they then go to Wikipedia and they say chemtrails or geoengineering is debunked because they created the narrative. That's what you have to understand. That's what you have to understand. So there is no Pizzagate per se. It was the event that when people started to read these, when people say, hey, look at these emails. What does all this mean? Do you know where it came from? Do you know where a lot of these folks came from? On 4chan, there was an actual pedo ring who said, hey, we know what that means. And they did the decoding. Not only that, the symbolism and the symbology. So what I say to you, do me a favor and just forget Pizzagate. Just forget it. Don't bring it up. It has nothing to do with anything. It distracts people. Why are we talking about that? We're talking about kids who are missing, kids who are harmed, and they want us to talk about this. No, I don't. Doesn't matter. That's not important. The question is simply this. If you had to sneak kids out, if you had to hide kids, where would you go? You know where I'd go? Any place that had orphanages. Any place that had a lot of really shaky people going to foreign countries and bringing in children into an orphanage. Many kids who were undocumented. Many kids who were born in parts of the world that don't even have birth certificates. Kids who can be swallowed up into the system, like unaccompanied minors. That's what I would do. Forget Pizzagate. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this. That's what this is about. What was Epstein about? Money laundering. The other stuff is, see, they know you'd go for that because that's about hookers and sex. And yeah, that was important too. But that's not it. This guy goes back to Adnan Khashoggi, weapons. This guy was so the part that is the most important about him is the money laundering and the bank fraud and the various goings on. That's the critical part. But it's boring. So people don't want to talk about this. They want to talk about this. Am I making sense to you? Am I making sense? You understand this? And what happens is, now, here's the story. I know many of you find people say, for example, here's something very interesting. It's about using children to blackmail and obtain control of the political elite, and also to make their ritual sacrifice to Moloch or Baal and keep their power and wealth and initiate others in power. Now, do me a favor. That is fascinating. But Monica's your name? Please don't ever say this in public. You sound like an idiot. No, you're not. They're going to look at you and say, ooh, did you hear this? Moloch? When you bring up the devil, Satan, I promise you, there are some of the most atheistic people who couldn't spell Moloch. They say, no, that's not it. I'm sure there is. This is sometimes our ritualized, romanticized version of seeing things on a bigger level. We will see eyes wide shut. Other people will say, no, it's not. They're not on the altar of Moloch. However, that might be shorthand for something. And also there are people in our group who sometimes love to show you how much they know. There's a lingo that we have. There's a way of speaking. And sometimes you'll say, well, you know what that is? That's just paperclip. That's just marking blur. That's harp. That's harp speaker. That's InQtel. That's, you know what I'm saying? And we like to do that. And we like to show people that we know what's going on. We know this. We know how do we say this? We know the really we know everything about the Mont Pelerin Society. We can go back. Well, this is Ajax. This is Operation Ajax. This is Israel. Blah, 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 blah. And people say, wow, that guy knows a lot. He sure does. What is he saying? I don't know what he's saying. When you talk to people who may not be believers, who may not read the Bible, who may not be Christian or Jewish or anything, and Candace does a wonderful job talking about Nimrod, and that's great among us. Please don't do this in public. They're not going to appreciate it. I am telling you, it sounds great. And I know it does. But no. Somebody was talking one time about the mark of Cain. I said, look, stop. I said, I know in your circle this, and I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying it's not true. I know people who talk about the spirit, they will use earth kind of Wiccan ideology, and they'll refer to the earth mother, and say, don't do this. That's all I'm saying. Look at Freddie. Look at Fred. Fred, you're an animal. Thank you, my friend. Look at this. He gifts. Do you understand what I'm saying? Please don't become angry if I tell you this. Please don't. Please don't. Please. I have been through this my whole life. I remember I was telling somebody I was a retired Catholic, and what they would say about Catholics was ridiculous about Venetian conspiracies and the Medicis, and it's like, people, they're going to church on Sunday. They don't know what you're talking about. I know in your own mind it's important, but don't, you know what I mean? It's a very, very simple thing. Put the burden on them. Mr. Podesta or whomever. Why do you have so many emails to so many famous people about pizza? You tell me. Why? I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to talk about Moloch or Nimrod or Dionysian. No, 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 no. You tell me. You're talking to some very important people. You're talking about it. He's talking about it. He wants hot dogs. Is there a party? You spend more time. And by the way, these letters are so. Why are you emailing these? If there's something negative about this, why are you risking your life? See, Candace is right about one thing, and it's true. They feel invisible. They don't care what you think. They've been doing this for so long that. Now, to your point, have you ever heard of Bohemian Grove? Of course you have. And if I said to you, do you know what it is in Northern California where you have presidents of the United States? There's one picture of Nixon and Reagan and one of these outdoor where they burn the owl. Oh, that's crazy. Alex Jones, thank God, shows you. Here they are. Burning the owl or whatever they're doing. David Gergen went crazy. How dare you violate ours? Stop right there. These are grown men prancing about in the forest, paying homage to an owl. It's almost like Coachella means something else. Do you hear what I'm saying? Put the coffee down. Coffee is for closers. Thank you. Thank you, Pilgrim. So they do that. Let's talk about Skull and Bones and others as well. Let's talk about Carol Quigley talked about this. Why do we have organizations that are death cults, almost necromancy, skulls? Why? It's part of it. I do not know. Now, I don't know if this is Nimrod. I don't know what this is. I have no idea. If this is Cyclops, if this is the book of gingivitis, I have no idea. But they do this. Why do they have people? Why do they pay homage to these quasi-witch dudes or dudettes like Abramovich who love to talk about blood and writing and cannibalism? Why do they do this? I don't know. I don't have to figure this out. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do this. All I have to do is they do this. So again, Mr. Podesta, whoever, why did you do this? Why do you write these? Please, we got plenty of time. Can you imagine Kissinger writing they didn't have email then, but to McNamara and said, he's sending me this, what's he talking about with this pizza? There's something to this. Let people see this. Say, here are, and imagine like a TED Talk where you have the big screens and you see all these emails. All these emails. People, Ivy League educated. These people consult with presidents. Why are they talking about pizza? Wait, pause. Let people say, that's a good question. Well, answer the question. Don't fill it in for them. Don't fill it in showing them how much you know, how much you've memorized. Well, that comes from the 5th book of the Diocletians, in which Nimrod talked to Minotaur. No. That might be, that may get some points in the smoking room, in the conspiratorium, but people don't know what the hell you're talking about. It's very simple. They're going after kids. End of discussion. And there's a lot of people who seem to be doing, and why is it? Now, let me ask you this question. If somebody says this is no big deal, what if, for example, in Comet Pizza or whatever, there were swastikas? What if, back and forth, they were sending codes towards Nazism or something along those lines? I think the radical left would say something about that, don't you? I think they would say something about that. I really would. So don't give me this business about it doesn't really matter. No, it would matter if it was a subject that you cared about. But because this is a Democratic fundraiser, your mum's the word. But come on, be honest with me. Where was Virginia Giuffre? How did was she dispatched? Was she off? What happened? We have a lot to get to work. So what I'm saying, my friends, is do yourself a favor. AI is a wonderful tool. Research. Know yourself. But more importantly, know how to talk to regular people. We are only going to win if people on the street, cousins, if you're saying, you know what, I want to, that's a good question. Tell people how many kids are missing every year and ask them, would you like to get to the bottom of that? Let them feel like they're in charge of the conversation. Would you like to get to the bottom of it? Yes. What if it involves going a little deep and talking about some crazy people who do some crazy things? Is that okay with you? Yes, it's okay. Are you sure about that? Yes. All right. Okay. Okay, good. Lure them in little by little. Make them beg you to tell them. Make them want to tell you. They really do. Because this seems people are too, they don't know the Candace thing. They don't know who Erika is. They don't know TPUSA. They don't know about what they're talking about with that. They don't know these names, Colvette, and they're just unfamiliar with that. Or Epstein, or the docs. And where's Pam Bondi? And where is anybody for that matter? Where? And where are all the people, the big influencers who were there at the White House that day, and they're nowhere to be found now. Nowhere to be found. I don't understand it. Where are they now? It blows my mind. Where are they in terms of, are they paying you not to say anything? Why aren't you talking about Epstein? Why? I don't understand it. Why are they radio silent? I don't understand this. And let's also talk about the fact that you told me, Kash Patel, you told me, and Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino, a waste of flesh, that this was self-harm and not homicide. You told me that to your face. You said, take my word for it. You know that's not true. So why'd you lie? And you want me to believe you? And by the way, if you're Savannah Guthrie's family and they're going to send the FBI in, oh dear God, tell Kash to stay home with his new girlfriend and pick out which raid jacket he wears and his hat. Same thing with Christy Noem, who loves to wear cowboy hats. They're like cosplay. They like to do that. I don't understand this. This is where the president and I, Todd Blanchard is running DOJ, not Pam Bondi. Why is that? So the good news is, let us rejoice. We have, it's almost like the atomic clock or the nuclear alarm clock. We are at 1:45, whereas it was 2:30 in the afternoon before. We were nowhere. This was nowheresville. Nobody talked about any of this stuff we're at least talking about right now. It's incumbent on us to go forward. And by the way, if you want to see something, watch cable news, especially the conservative ones. They never talk about any of this. They never talk about any of it. And you would say, hey, is this okay? Go after. No, this is, what about Hillary? What about them testifying? What about Frazzle? What about the laptop? Anything? Nothing. And the reason why they don't want to go after Hillary is that at the very top, they're the same. Two sides of the same coin. The left-right paradox is ridiculous. There's no such thing. It's all a uniparty. It's all the same people. But that's why we have to go out and tell them. We have to get very, very serious. Be very serious about this. Are you up for it? Are you up for it? I am. Say you are. Don't sit back and watch this. Participate. Get in the game. And the first thing you can do is start talking to people. Ask them, have you heard about this Epstein? What's that all about? See what they know. And that'll tell you what you need to do to move in. All right, my friends, you've had a wonderful time. It's a beautiful, balmy, it's a beautiful 19 degrees here in New York City. All the snow is still frozen. Cars are still just, anyway, what do you care? Thank you. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your greatness. Thank you for your focus on this. It means a lot to me and others. It really means a lot, and I appreciate that. We'll see how many of these evening things we'll do. If there's something important to tell you, I'll tell you. I think today was an important day. Please follow here at Lionel Nation. Sign up and subscribe. Thank you so much. Please follow my beloved wife at Lynn's Warriors. She had her own today. So much to say. We're working in concert. Why? Ultimately, it's about protecting children. That's what this is. Not about pizza. It's about protecting kids. Period. End of discussion. All right, my friends. Have a great and a glorious day. You have been absolutely wonderful. Continue with the conversation in the comment section. I've got some questions for you. And until we meet again, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.